Hello everybody, this is PotterBrony and welcome to another episode of Death Battle. This time we have Hercule Satan versus Dan Hibiki. I know more about Hercule than about Mr. Satan than I do about Dan. As far as anything about Dan, is like last time I think, and it's been a little while, but I saw they had that 1 minute melee between these two. Which, if I remember right, Hercule won that one. But there was a lot of posturing, and in their heads they were just going back. Most of it was really them going back and forth. It's like, oh crap, he looks really tough. It was like, oh man, gotta keep up the act, keep up the act. And they like really didn't want to fight, but they didn't want to back down either, and that was pretty freaking hilarious. I'm expecting a lot of that, except on a longer scale. That was only like a 3-minute video. 1 minute for the actual fight, which, yeah, if I remember right, yeah, I think Hercule won that one with a bomb. As far as this one, what I know of Hercule, he's obviously a Dragon Ball Z character. Blustering, loudmouth, egotist, loves talking himself up, but is not an idiot, knows when he's freaking outclassed. He knows when to, when he should back down, but he unfortunately has to protect his rep, and that gets him into some bad situations. Of course, it does get him the friendship of Fat Boo, so hey, it's not all bad, I guess. Anyway, as far as who's going to win, like I said, Dan will probably be Hercule again, unless there's more information about Dan that about Dan Hibiki that I don't know. And they did it in the 1 minute melee he won, but that was, like they said, without any research or that type of thing. Just basic general information that they would know about them, I believe. And so yeah, let's see how it goes after it's in-depth, after some in-depth information. Alright, so starting the video in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, here we go.
A good martial artist does not become tense, but ready. Not thinking, yet not dreaming. Ready for whatever may come.
But some fighters are dumb enough to ignore the legendary Bruce Lee's words. Like Hercule Satan, the world martial arts champion.
And Dan Hibiki, the Psycho street fighter.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who
So
will
it's a
win
clash of the
our
idiots.
Death battle. The Earth was in danger, the future of mankind threatened by a monster named Cell. All would be lost unless a hero could best him in the ring of champions.
The hope of the world
That
lay on the
was not
shoulder
Hercule.
and afro of one man, Hercule Satan.
So much for that.
Officially, Mr. Satan is the world martial arts champion and chosen savior of humanity.
Real name
So
Mark?
he would have you believe.
Hey, if I could lie that well, I'd make everybody think I'm king of the world too. Or even God.
But before he was the hero of the people, Mr. Satan went by Mark. Eager to learn, Mark sought to master the art of combat.
Young Mark
Okay.
had skills in the
This I didn't know.
Castle, which sounds awesome, but sadly no, he was not actually trained by the devil. I looked it up.
Turns out he was naturally gifted in martial arts, mostly due to his strangely good luck.
Yeah, like when he won his first world championship after his rival got food poisoning. That's not suspicious at all.
Victory.
Yeah.
Mark took the stage name Mr.
Wow.
Satan in honor of his dojo and to sound better for the cameras. His victories and explosive personality quickly rocketed him to a life of wealth, fame, and luxury.
Which almost came to an end when he and his master got drunk and made fun of some random guy's ponytail. Turns out this random guy just so happened to be a superpowered immortal mercenary who then murdered his master. Remember, kids?
Oh, yeah, I remember that guy from Dragon Ball.
But words should never be used against a tree-surfing murderer.
From that day forward,
Yeah, that-
Satan swore
whatever,
not
man.
to fight anyone whose identity was a secret or who seemed out of his league.
Seemed to forget about that when Cell showed up. Anyway, somewhere along the
Yeah.
line, Mr. Satan married a lady named Miguel, and after a round or two in the ovarian ring, had a daughter. Oh, and then his wife died.
Wow, come on, Boomstick, show some tact. Despite his grief, Mr. Satan never let his loss interrupt his lifestyle.
He filled the hole in his life the only way he knew how, with more martial arts. He mastered techniques like his dynamite kick and megaton punch, which sounds like they would make you explode or something epic like that.
But they're actually just regular kicks and punches. He really only named them so he could scream awesome words while fighting. Hey, this is
I feel more than a little underwhelmed by this guy right now.
Is that the Japanese is that translated from original Japanese? That's the way it's supposed to be?
Martial arts tournament, becoming the champion of the world and chosen savior to battle Cell. But we already know how that went.
I could watch that over and over. In fact...
How did I know they were going to do that?
Mr. Satan actively avoids fighting those who clearly outclass him, mostly to save his own reputation.
The first time he saw people flying and shooting beams from their hands, he thought it was a bunch of cheap tricks and pyrotechnics. Even after seeing the most epic Kamehameha beam struggle of all time, he still denied everything.
It's a trick. It's all a trick, I swear. Someday I'll bring it home tonight. I will.
No, the hell you won't.
But just in case he finds himself in over his head, Mr. Satan is packing an assortment of capsules containing jetpacks, disguised explosives, and even missile launchers. Man, if those existed in real life, it would be a TSA nightmare.
If there's anything he's good at, it's public performance. He often weasels his way out of dangerous scenarios with lame excuses like faking stomach aches, and somehow the entire world buys his crap every single time.
For years, I've been trying to perfect a variation of the megaton punch that uses latent energy to cause a delayed reaction to catch my opponent off guard.
Wow. Yeah, because that makes total sense.
The crowd. I love all of you.
Who are you talking to?
Every single one of you. Like and subscribe.
Mr. Satan is a master of deception, an excellent actor, and a complete fraud. Still, he is strong enough to rip 3 phone books in half and pull 4 buses by himself. And once he actually moved faster than the untrained eye can see, but forgot bullets move fast too.
Well, if I have to say something nice about the guy, at least he's not Yamcha.
Mr. Satan has won the World Martial Arts Tournament 6 times, although only one of them was legitimate.
Yeah, the other times he rigged it by having Mr. Boo kick everyone's ass and then lose to him on purpose.
Still, it's pretty impressive he managed to befriend one of the most dangerous and untamed monsters in the Dragon Ball universe.
Oh, and one time he convinced the whole world's population to stick their hands up in the air and then wave them around like they just don't care, but whatever.
Boomstick that saved the world. Mr. Satan is motivated by 3
That is a fair point. He did help save the world.
Who he seems to prize above all else.
He may be a bit of a con artist, but no matter what he's up against, Mr. Satan still finds a way to rise above his fears through his own bravery.
Alright, so he does have some decent aspects to him.
Dick-headedness and straight-up stupidity.
Oh, the pain. Oh.
I'd forgotten about that.
Conceptualized in retaliation of SNK's blatant ripoff of Capcom's characters, Dan Hibiki was always meant to be a complete joke.
Dan had no natural talent in fighting people, but his father, Go Hibiki, was a martial arts master with his own dojo.
One day, Go's dojo was visited by Sagat, an enforcer of the crime syndicate Shadaloo. As an advocate of justice, Go refused to be intimidated by the crime lord and stood up to him the only way he knew how.
By kicking his freaking eye out, then Sagat brutally beat him to death in front of his own son. That should teach you to mess with a 7'4" Muay Thai monster.
It didn't. Enraged and distraught, Dan swore he would have
but
death. To do so, he sought out a legendary dojo hidden in the wilderness of Japan.
This thing is more elusive than child support to my ex.
Seems like the more time we spend here, the more questions arise.
Yeah. Like, who the hell's Dad?
Against all odds, Dan found it. He was trained by its master, Goken, the same mentor who taught Ryu and Ken such legendary techniques as the Hadoken and the Shoryuken. Dan began the difficult journey of mastering the use of ki as a weapon of justice.
Until Goken expelled him because he just sucked.
Well, technically, because Goken didn't want his training only used for revenge, but let's face it, he knew he was wasting his time.
However, Dan's determination for vengeance continued. He took the little he had learned from Goken.
And I'm saying yeah as if I know anything about it.
This became his very own martial art.
But they're showing the proof right there, so.
Unfortunately, while that sounds awesome, it didn't really work out.
Dan's fighting style is, well, it sucks. It's awful. There's absolutely nothing redeemable about it. I mean, he can use special moves like the Koryuken and the Dan Kugyaku,
which are like the dollar store versions of awesome stuff, like the Shoryuken and Tatsum, well, whatever it's called.
Also, Dan Kugyaku, did he seriously name one of his moves after himself?
Yeah, he's pretty full of himself, which is why the Saikyo style's strongest technique is excessive taunting. He can taunt while jumping, somehow increasing his airtime. And by focusing all his energy at once, Dan can perform a taunt so fearsome, it will shock and amaze all who witness it just by being the most worthless thing they've ever seen. This is the legendary taunt.
Here I come! What's the problem? Don't underestimate. I'm awesome! Woohoo! Piece of cake!
Now, Dan can manifest his ki into a fireball.
What the hell is that?
Called the Godoken. In a way, the Godoken is symbolic of Dan himself.
Yeah, it's tiny, pathetic, and doesn't last very long.
Dan eventually tracked down his father's killer and offered to make his left eye match his right. In turn, Sagat politely offered to reunite father and son. The long-awaited fist began, a clash in which Dan was bent on retribution.
That's a nice way of putting it, though.
Oh, shit, he won?
Yes. Dan finally achieved the recompense he had sought for so long and trained his entire life for, because Sagat threw the fight in pity. Completely unaware of his luck and now confident he was one of the strongest in the world, Dan founded his own dojo to unfortunately teach other people his worthless martial arts.
Thanks, Sagat. Not only have you killed this man's father, but you're ruining other kids' lives now, too.
You'll be happy to know that
he's evil.
Was actually enrolled in his class because he kept forgetting to pay his phone bill and did not include his dojo's address in his commercials.
Classic Dan. By the way, what's up with the paint scheme?
Well, it was originally white, but then he accidentally washed it with colors.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, making fun of Dan is fun, but let's be honest, he's not a complete pushover. He can take down multiple thugs at once, and even endured a beating from Ryu and Ken simultaneously. No matter how many times he falls, Dan will always get right back up.
And remember how Goken rejected him because of his thirst for vengeance? That's because Dan can actually tap into the Satsui no Hado, the evil, deadly energy that transformed Goken's brother Akuma into an island-smashing murderer.
We're not joking here. Once Dan did access his Satsui no Hado to use the dreaded Raging Demon, a move which obliterates the victim's soul.
Damn! If Dan can do it, I can do it! Alright, watch out, Wes, here it comes! Ah! Ah! Shit!
But more often than not, it's Klutz whose overconfident taunting gets him into trouble. He is his own worst enemy.
But even after crying like a baby from stubbing his toe, Dan doesn't let any of it keep him down for long. After all, who else will carry on the heroic legacy of Go Hibiki?
Koryuken!
Oh!
All right, the combatants are set. Let's end this debate once and for all.
It's time for a death battle!
Let's get a start and pause. Alright, so pausing that one right there for a minute and just talk about this. Okay, so the thing with let's see, with Hercule versus Dan Hibiki, I'm gonna have to say that I'm thinking Hercule's gonna win it, unless Dan somehow, and he can tap into it. He's done it once before apparently, and whatever the hell that thing was, like that energy that allows him to obliterate people's souls. If he can pull that off, it'll probably go to him. But aside from that, and they did mention it, so it may happen. He may miss though. He may not be able to touch him, but I'm not sure exactly how that move works. They didn't really go into detail as far as what he would have to do once he possessed that energy to obliterate his opponent's souls. Apart from that, I am thinking that Hercule's going to win it, and I am kind of rooting for him too. I mean, he may be an idiot, but he's an idiot from a show that I like. So, never really played Street Fighter. Didn't care for the movies or whatever the hell they made for him. But let's just get it restarted right now. Okay.
The infamous creator of the Psycho Arts, Dan Hibiki!
Woohoo! Here I come! Ow!
Nice moves, Hibachi. How about you ring yourself out?
You wish, chump. I hope you're ready for a beating.
A weakling like you stands no chance.
It looks like Mr. Satan wants to end this quickly. Which of his patented finishing moves will he use?
Dynamite King!
Oh my god!
What's this? He's opening the challenge with devastating attack!
Ha! I psyched him out. He'll be too terrified to throw a single pull.
Yeah, how'd that work out for you? Oh, they're actually throwing legitimate punches now, huh?
The glory of Psycho!
Whoa! Wow!
And now, behold my ultimate attack!
Shinku! No. Is that what I think it is? What do I do?
Don't worry.
Dive off the arena. Say I slipped due to my sheer muscle mass. Yeah. Holy crap! How long is this gonna take? Yeah! I've done it! After years of training and grueling exercise, this pathetic pony's cheap tricks won't work on me! Ha!
Astounding!
Way to go, Satan!
Such an attack was to
Hercule,
act like
Satan.
a coward!
Yeah! Wait, what?
What's this? Is it just me, or has Mr. Satan illegally smuggled weapons into the arena?
Oh crap! My backup plans! I can't go out like this! What? I've never seen these before! Obviously my challenger snuck them into my row to get me disqualified! Can't even face me like a man!
Oh sweet, a jetpack!
What?
Time for the next evolution of my martial art! Ultimate Rocket Booster Psycho of Doom! Well, that's disappointing.
Only one more capsule left, but I don't remember what's in it. You gotta think of something fast.
I see 3 over there.
I can't track his movements.
What the heck?
Jesus.
What a spectacle! What could the champ be planning?
Oh yeah! I got this!
Done.
Ah, crap.
I can't believe it, folks! The match is still on! And Mr. Satan's limitless tenacity has worn down the challenger!
Aha! Yes, that's right. I tired him out. Me, Mr. Satan. That was my plan all along.
What am I doing? I can't lose to this Joker. I have to win! For my father!
Oh, he's actually doing it.
Oh, man!
He fucked that up, too.
You're about to witness the real deal!
It looks like this is the end!
Yeah! Ha ha ha! This is over!
Oh, man!
Wow, what a way to end it.
He punched him so hard he turned into a jukebox! It can only be the
Okay.
technique, the karaoke punch!
Oh my god, I can't believe that happened.
Hercule Satan!
KO!
Just on pure luck.
Disappoint his father in the afterlife.
Hercule Satan and Dan Hibiki may be pretty pathetic in context, but keep in mind, before the Cell Saga, Mr. Satan was actually a legitimate world champion.
Unlike Dan, who only has one confirmed win to his name, and it was handed to him out of pity.
And Mr. Satan has proven time and time again
That's a
that
good
he
point.
is stronger than the average athletic man.
He once pulled 4 tour buses, which is nearly 60 tons, and then he punched through one of them. That's a sheet of steel right there. Dan struggles to throw a single guy over his shoulder.
Mr. Satan once broke through a tower of 19 tiles with a single chop, and is the only character in Dragon Ball history to have fought both Cell and Majin Buu and not die.
Think about that.
Dan's key attacks were his ace in the hole, but in true Hibiki
Yeah,
fashion,
through sheer luck.
it amounted to nothing but failure. Just like the time he managed to pull off the Raging Demon, only to be stopped by a high school girl's backpack.
The key to Dan's failure.
The winner is Hercule Satan.
Next time on Death.
Alright, let's see who's next. Oh, we're having Yang? Wow, this looks like it may be interesting. And hey, you know what? You might actually help. You might actually get Booster Teeth animated too.
Hey, I'm Chad, I play Boomstick. Hey, I'm Tori, the 3D animator.
I'm Ben, I play Wiz.
Of course, he's the animator.
We're super excited that Yang from Ruby is coming to the next death battle.
Yeah, and this time it's going to be a 3D animated fight by this guy. He's mocapping it as we speak.
He doesn't always dress like this.
Yeah, it's
What do you? It's the mocap.
Oh, so he's going to be animating it.
But who is Yang going to be fighting? You can stick to our social media, and we will let you know very soon. Just go find us on Facebook, official SA, or on Twitter at ScrewAttack.
Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Alright, so that was Dan Hibiki versus Mr. Satan, and yeah, it pretty much went how I thought it would be. I kind of thought it would come down to luck at some point, from one way or the other, unless he actually managed to pull off that technique with the soul obliteration thing. I fucking can't even remember what it was called. But hopefully you enjoyed that. It was very entertaining, and I thought of something, but I should have done this in the intro. But you know, this has been, let's just say it here, is like, this has been Wednesday Night Sissy Fights. And if you get that reference, awesome. Alright, take care. Bye.